Terrified. So please welcome to the stage, amazingly talented married couple, David Burtka and Neil Patrick Harris.
Talking to you across the water, across the deep blue ocean, under the open sky. Oh my, baby, I'm trying. Boy, I hear you in my dreams. I hear you whisper across the sea. I keep you with me in my heart. It makes it easier when life gets hard. Lucky I'm in love with my best friend. Lucky to have been where I have been. Lucky to be coming home again. They don't know how long it takes waiting for love like this. Every time you say goodbye, I wish we had one more kiss. I'll wait for you, I promised you I will. Lucky I'm in love with my best friend. Lucky to have been where I have been. Lucky to be coming home again. Lucky we're in love in every way. Lucky to have stayed where we have stayed. Lucky to be coming home someday. And so I'm sailing through the sea to an island where we'll meet. I feel the music in the air. I put a flower in your hair. Love the breezes in the trees, it feels so pretty, it's all I see. I keep you with me in my heart. You make it easier when life gets hard. Lucky I'm in love with my best friend. Lucky to have been where I have been. Lucky to be coming home again. Lucky we're in love in every way. Lucky to have stayed where we have stayed. Lucky to be coming home someday.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
But I feel like you're going to be blocking the audience and you have...
I play out, Seth.
Okay, so if you've never seen this type of show, there's singing, chitter-chat, singing, chitter-chat. This is the chitter-chat. I guess first of all, boys, can we just describe what was happening in the dressing room before we came upstairs? I was downstairs, leisurely getting dressed. Can you, what was the breathing, what's happening though?
Oh, we are sitting with a woman named Liz Kaplan, and this is a little breathing technique to just get your
We were
body.
warming up a little bit because it's nerve-wracking performing in front of a bunch of people out of context.
Neil does not do cabarets. He's comfortable playing characters,
Characters in whole shows where you know why they're singing what they're singing, but the whole hit it, Bobby.
Except if you weren't in the room, we would have done a different warm-up. To open his throat.
It was very weird. It was hanging over. Cut. Okay, let's go back.
Hi, our
kids are here in the left row.
Actually are.
Gideon and Harper.
Okay, first a little Neil background. Neil, about your parents, where are you from?
I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and lived for a long time in Los Angeles, California, and now reside in Harlem, NYC.
Okay, but save it. But because it's a long show. So for New Mexico, though, like I was constantly seeing Broadway shows as a kid. Were you seeing like national touring caravans? What are they in New Mexico? Like, what were you seeing?
The first thing I ever saw was a bus and truck tour of Annie that went through Alamogordo, New Mexico. It was very, very, very small. It's not accurate.
It sounds not equity.
Yeah.
Was it?
It was a pretty small production. But I was from tiny town, I was from Ruidoso, so I had seen none of it. Everything that I had seen had been the Ruidoso Little Theater performing in the country club, you know, in a corner of some big room. So I had never been to a theater, I'd never seen what that was like. So for the curtain to close and Annie and Daddy Warbucks have a little conversation and the curtain opens, there's a whole new set in the background, a Christmas tree with presents everywhere, very exciting.
What about the real life dog?
I think it was a real life dog.
Were you devastated there were no boys in it? Like I still am to this day.
The little boys were in
That
it?
there were no little boys in it.
Oh.
Were you devastated thinking, I want to do that? Wait, where are the boys? I hate myself. Am I the only one?
I just wanted to be Annie.
Thank you. Burtka.
There's a couple little boys in the movie. Did you notice?
Yeah, if you look at
I
the
just rewatched the movie with our
Adrian
daughter, our
Quinn
son.
movie.
We love it.
Adrian Quinn version, if you just poke around, you can see
They're
boys.
boy orphans?
Yeah, their backs are turned, so you can't see their boobs.
They're gymnasts.
So they're feigning being they're drag queens? Finally. Alright, where'd you grow
Drag
up?
tots.
I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and then moved to New York when I was around 19, 20.
What was the first big show you saw on tour?
I was trying to think of this, and I remember there were two shows that I really remembered as a kid. I was young, 7 to 10. I remember we used to see all the touring companies that used to come to, the Fox Theater and Birmingham Playhouse, and I remember seeing Sweet Charity.
That's appropriate.
And Company were the ones that really I remember.
Was Neil in Company?
No.
Okay. So was it earlier production? Let me ask you something. Were you thinking when you saw Ooh, I Want to Be Annie? I mean, were you thinking like I want to be in it?
Yeah.
So
I really wanted to do, what they were doing for sure.
But were you taking any training? Were you a gymnast, singing?
Yeah, I was a gymnast as a kid, and I started taking dance lessons pretty early. But I got involved in this theater troupe that I did as a kid, and a lot of other people on Broadway were involved with it. So I grew up with a lot of people.
It's called the Peanut Butter Players.
The Peanut Butter Players. We would serve lunch.
Oh, I heard about this.
They would make us serve lunch all day, and then we would go to a show. So we would, serve hot dogs and chips and salads and things like that. And then we would go to a full-length show. It was all kids, put on by kids, done by kids, and
who else was in it?
Celia Keenan Bolger, Andrew Bolger, Danny Gerwin, Aaron Dilley, Heather Dilley, Randy Becker, Sutton Foster, Hunter Foster, Aaron Dilley. Did I say Aaron Dilley, Heather Dilley?
You did.
Sound effects are amazing.
So yeah, there were a lot of us that grew up that, Ian Kessler, who's in LA now. It's really impressive group of people that we grew up together.
Okay, well, you told me, I did a chatterbox with David, you told me that you did Peter Pan, and all I remember is there was a horrible accident, but I don't remember who did it, who caused it, what happened.
So in the show, the Darling family gets taken off by Peter Pan, and we're all hooked up to wires, so we're flying.
You were
flying by.
John?
I was John.
Okay.
The one with glasses, now top hat. And I was a nerd. And so one of the performances, the curtain was coming down, and all of a sudden, my wire snapped.
Were you in the air?
I was in the air.
How high?
15 feet. And so the curtain was coming down, and I beat the curtain, so you see this body bounce. And you see body bounce, and the curtain comes down, and they couldn't get the gurney through backstage, so they had to take me through the orchestra pit, through the audience, with two Chinese curtains beside each side of me.
Chinese screens.
Your screens, yeah.
So the audience wouldn't realize?
Yeah. And
He's dying. Look at him, way up high, son.
So what happened to you? Do you have like a metal plate in your head?
Well, see, my elementary school happened to be doing a tour that day of the show. So it got around the school that I had 24 hours to live. I fell into the orchestra pit, my head fell into a tuba, a trombone went through my neck, I broke 4 ribs, and I was basically dead.
Like Ferris Bueller. That's so cool.
It was nuts, and you know, people would come visit, and people could not believe that I was still walking or living afterward. And I was in the hospital, and my mom, the only thing that happened, I got a bruised kneecap, and I got a gash in my face from the floor, because I fell on my face. And there was a big gash on my face, and so my mom was in the hospital room with me. She goes, "Oh, you have some glitter," because, you know, the pixie dust that they throw, the glitter, got into my cut, and so she went down to the hospital corridor going, "My son has pixie dust in his cut. Pixie dust is in my son's cut. Can someone help me?" And people were like, "Psychiatric is 2 floors down." Yeah.
Okay, so we were trying to think of a good segue for the next song, and I decided it was appropriate because Peter Pan, Death. The song is called Flight, so it's perfect. You ready to hit it?
You falling 15 feet explains so much.
We'll talk about that.
This is a very pretty song by Craig Carnelia. Don't think about the near-death experience.
Nothing to do with me falling 15 feet.
Let me run through the fields in the night. Let me lift from the ground till my soul is in flight. Let me sway like the shade of a tree. Let me swirl on the cloud in the storm on the sea. Wish me on my way through the dawning day. I wanna flow, wanna rise, wanna spill, wanna grow from the side of the hill. I don't care if the train runs late, if the checks don't clear, if the house blows down. I'll be off where the weeds run wild, where the seeds fly far from this earthbound town, and I'll start to soar. Watch me rain till I pour. I'll catch a ship that'll sail me astray. I'll get caught in the wind. I'll just have to obey till I'm flying away. In my mind, I want to wake without wondering why, finding myself in a burst for the sky. I'll just roll, watch me lose all control. I'll catch a ship that will sail me astray. I'll get caught in the wind, I'll just have to obey. I don't know, but maybe I'm just a fool. I should stick to the ground, I should stay where I'm at. Maybe everyone has hunger like this, but a hunger won't last. But I can't think like that. All I know is somewhere in the clearing, there's a flickering of sunlight on a river long and wide. And I have such a river inside. Let me run through the fields in the night. Let me lift from the ground till my soul is in flight. Let me sway like the shade of a tree. Let me swirl on the cloud, in the storm on the sea. Wish me on my way through the dawning of day. I wanna float, wanna rise, wanna spin, wanna grow on the side of a hill. Wanna shift like a wave rolling on, free from the path I've been traveling upon before I am gone.
to Michigan College? Or
I was at University of Michigan for musical theater.
Nice.
Go Blue.
Now, are they those kind of teachers that are like, we destroy you for 3 years and then finally make you feel good the last year?
No, not at all. They're very selective in who they take. There was only 20 people in my graduating class. There was about 80 people in the whole program. So they want to take you and make you, a Broadway star, basically.
They don't kick you out every year like Carnegie Mellon?
There's a cut system. We started with about 25 and we ended up at 20. So about 5 people get cut a year.
Who are those 5 people?
They're not in the business anymore.
Oh, cut you out. Now it is Provincetown, so any good coming out story? Did you go to like, I'm a straight man and leave like work?
No, I did theater. I grew up with a bunch of young kids, so we sort of all knew. But there was an experimental phase. I dated women, I dated men, but there wasn't any crazy stories.
So you date Sutton Foster.
Oh, you mean that?
No, I don't mean that at all. I'm wondering, did you?
No, yeah, one of my first girlfriends was Sutton Foster, and we were each other's first kiss.
Whoa.
No, wait.
St. Hawkins dance, 1941.
St. Hawkins dance anymore.
Yeah, that's like 30.
Like, wait, hold on a second. So wait, Sutton was dating you for Rizzle? It wasn't like in a show?
No, we actually dated. We went on dates and we hung out. I remember one of the dates ended up in my living room where we were choreographing a new dance to Cold Hearted Snake. But she didn't know that.
Does she know now?
I don't think so.
I'm not gonna say anything. Okay, so Patrick Harris, you grew up in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh wait, all these amazing stories are in this book, which is so great. His autobiography. It is so funny and so informative.
Oh, thanks.
So I love it. It's so creative too. It's choose your own adventure. So at the end of every chapter, you get to like go to another chapter. It's super fun. But I remember you were there and you became professional like super young.
Yeah. Well, I randomly was in a movie opposite Whoopi Goldberg as my
So was
first
I.
thing.
That's something else. No, wait, what? That's a crazy story. Wait, how did that happen? She was like, I want you.
Cigar out of her mouth. You kid.
Yeah. That's a chuckle.
No, Mark Medoff had written a playwright, wrote Children of a Lesser God, lives in New Mexico, New Mexico State University. They do a week-long drama camp to get people interested to go to their school. And I was on the young side of that, about to become a freshman in high school, so I was 12, turning 13, and looked much younger than that. And went for my first week of camp, of theater camp. It was super duper fun. I'd never seen anything like it. Freeze tag, and you wrote plays, and then sort of like the Peanut Butter Players, I guess. We wrote our own plays, and then acted them, and directed them, and did the whole thing. And Mark had written this movie called Clara's Heart, and the other protagonist opposite Whoopi Goldberg was this very waspy kid with, a sad-ish kind of kid that could deal with adults well, so he thought I'd be a good fit for it, had me audition, put on tape, ended up losing the job to Braden Danner, who was the Gavroche in Broadway's Les Miserables. So, the reason I mention that is because sucker. No, I'm just kidding. No, the reason I mention that is because when I was in camp, I knew nothing about large-scale theater at all, and a couple kids from camp sat me down and played for me Les Miserables, which I guess was the London cast recording at that time, or maybe it was Broadway. And I didn't understand it, and it was so complicated, and I slowly started listening, slowly started to love it, and they told me that there was a turntable, and that all these giant pieces of furniture come on, and there's a barricade, and it's amazing. So I started slowly learning Les Miserables as this big, gigantic thing, Broadway, massive scale, could never achieve it or accomplish it. And then ended up not getting that gig. Braden got it. They ended up recasting and getting a new director. And through getting a new director, got rid of Braden and brought on the director's choice, which happened to be me. And so I got the gig. And then I started acting through there. So my love of theater was strong. I knew and could lip sync songs to every show. Into the Woods and Romance was my jam.
So 80s. Wait, I gotta go back to Braden. Wait, so what if, because I'm literally traumatized. So we had leader in a movie and then we're like, ooh, by the way, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, it was my first thing in the industry ever.
Did you have to tell him? Just acting.
Yeah, we arm wrestled for it.
Oh, it's just, I can't get past it. But okay.
No, it was weird, and it was very devastating to not get
this big opportunity, you know, and it was, I remember driving back from Las Cruces to Albuquerque pretty sure I wasn't going to get it, and crying, it's, you know, a potentially super amazingly cool thing, and then it didn't happen, so it was done, and then all of a sudden it sort of came around again about a year later, and I ended up getting it, and like it's still my favorite show, my first big Broadway show that I've ever seen, and still obsessed with all of that, and that was my first big entrance into theater of that scale. So it's weird, I went through it from movies then TV, staring at the theater people with great admiration, wanting to join their troops, you know.
And then in your book, he tells this amazing story about doing Sweeney Todd, the contra version, and Kelsey Grammer was like, I'll learn it night of. Wait, so what was that? He was like,
he didn't learn it night of.
But basically.
It was, you know, it was one of those 2-night things where everyone potentially had music stands. It was a concert version, like encores or something. But as is with encores now, they've gotten very fully produced, and I think Kelsey signed on in theory, and Christine Baranski was his Mrs. Lovett, and who else was in that?
Audra?
Audra was the beggar woman.
She's gonna be in town hall soon.
Oh yeah.
Get your tickets now.
Exactly.
And who else? Davis Gaines was Anthony. And so it was all these kind of, and I had not done any of these kind of things before, so I was out of my element, and therefore wanted to learn everything and learn it really well.
He was Tobias.
I was Tobias. With a hump.
I don't know what that
I don't know what
means.
that means either. I had a hump, I chose a hump. And so we did it, and Kelsey was not in rehearsals for the longest time. Like for weeks. And we were all in the rehearsal stage, and we're working on stuff, and he was in Hawaii, I guess, hanging out with his wife. And then he came back, and I remember we were all sort of showed the show to him, and he said, oh, it's amazing. It's wonderful what you're doing. Kind of like, I think you're supposed to. So then week of, once he got there and started learning it, I think he quickly realized just how much that role needs to be inside your body. You know, that's a big role. Singing it in a car or singing it at a piano is hard enough, but to own that presence and to be, you know, Baranski is unbelievable as Mrs. Lovett, and she's just dying to present that to an audience, so she was very, very well rehearsed, which probably freaked him out too. Cut to the show itself, there's 5 teleprompters everywhere. There's 2 teleprompters in the front, there's 2 teleprompters on the side, and there was a little mini teleprompter in the pie shop. So it was like doing infomercial scenes of Sweeney Todd. Like, Lisa, if you don't mind, I'd like to make some pies. And he'd say, why, yes. You must go in there.
I'm going right away, sir. Yes, no problem.
Hurry along. So I openly mocked his lack of preparation, and then I ended up doing another show, Company, at Lincoln Center, and almost the exact same thing happens to me.
Maybe in Hawaii, basically. You showed up like, what, day up? You're like, hey, Patty.
No.
You were working.
No, I was working on How I Met Your Mother, and it was I was working all the time, and they were rehearsing in New York. They would send us these videos, because they had cast and they had directed, Lonnie Price and Josh Rhodes had directed and choreographed the whole show already, because they sort of had to with the limited amount of rehearsal time. So we were sent videos and shown what our person was supposed to do, so we learned all our blocking on iPhones. And then we sort of showed up.
Wait, were they facing backwards, or did you have to reverse it in your head?
Oh, good question. I had to reverse it in my head. So I was looking at it and I was able to see. I mean, it's not like we got on stage and just did the show. We had 2 weeks or something to do it. And that was fine. Was it just a week, really? Wow. That helps. And so, but I got there as Bobby, and I knew the songs I was supposed to sing, but it's a really tricky part in Company because Bobby's in every scene, and he only has these very weird interstitial kind of lines. So it would be, he speaks, you're kidding. And then they'd keep going, then what happened? And then you'd keep going. And so then I quickly realized as we were rehearsing these things, I needed to have known the entire show, like every scene, everyone's parts, because you can't just remember when you're supposed to jump in with a small line. And if you don't say it, the whole thing stops. So we would be in rehearsal, and I'd be there with Stephen Colbert and Martha Plimpton, and who were brilliant, and they only had their scenes. So they were super off book and super prepared and super into it, and they're hi. And I'm holding my pages, and I go, okay, great. And when they rehearse it, and it's amazing, and I'm just starting to get it, and the hour's done. They're like, great, fantastic, all right, next scene. And here's 2 other people, Jennifer, Laura Thompson, and John Cryer, and they come in, and I'm like, oh, okay, here's the next scene. And then they're perfectly off book, and so I'm kind of panicking, and I try to get that going for an hour, and then done, and another scene. And so by the end of the day, I had all these partial scenes in my head, and I couldn't remember any of it. And then that was the worst it had ever been. I just didn't, I thought I could get through it. So I pulled a Kelsey Grammer.
My friend Kate Grant and I saw the dress rehearsal, and we were like, what's gonna happen? We were scared. We sat down before the show and looked at each other and started laughing. He was at the dress rehearsal and they had to stop. They didn't even finish doing the show. And he started doing the big
Not
song.
due to me, just because of the
just
orchestra.
because of everything.
The orchestra.
But you were rehearsing like being alive and you're forgetting your lyrics. I mean, you were so flustered with everything.
Not only that, but it was just the scenes, you know, and you know that the first performance of that is at Lincoln Center, is with all of the critics.
The opening night.
It's the opening night with the black tie gown. It's really the first time we had performed the entire show ever. So it was
So
super
didn't Patty
intense.
LuPone read you and she like, nice try?
Well, I was in that headspace. I was in a K-hole, a B-hole, a Broadway hole. I was in a Sondheim hole, an S-hole. I was in an S-hole. They all sound horrible. Whatever. And so I'm trying to learn, and I'm just working my hardest. What scene are we on? I'm getting bleary. I felt like those kids, the sad kids on American Idol audition episodes that don't sleep, and they're in the foursome, and they're just bleary, and they're not sleeping, and you're not watching, going, go to sleep, you idiot. You can need some sleep, but they don't. That was me. And so Patty comes in. She sets her stuff down, and she watches the scene with Jennifer and John Cryer, and I'm failing and calling for line. And then we finish, and it's her turn. She comes in, and she says to the 2 of them, Jennifer, John, you're tremendous. It's so fun to watch you. Neil, you'll get there. And from Patty, I know her. I've done stuff with her. In a normal headspace, I would have laughed that off. But coming from Patty LuPone is this sort of jab at my side when I was super shaky, insecure already. I just started quaking, and then she asked if everything was okay, and I kind of lost it on her. I said, no, it's not okay. I'm doing all these scenes. You only have one scene. It was very dramatic. I shouted at Patty LuPone and lived to tell the tale. I shouted the whole thing at her. I said, I don't appreciate you saying this. Can't you see that I'm failing and this is happening? And she looked at me and she goes, oh no. Oh no, you are not putting this on me. You are not throwing this on me. I was saying something simple, and on it she grabbed all her stuff and she was out. I was done. And then I wrote her a sad email at 1 o'clock that night. I'm so sorry, dear Patty. Please don't ever.
What's your email? Reno@avita.com?
Was it what?
What's your email? Like Reno@avita.com?
Patty's?
Yeah, get back to me. Okay, so just to make you panicked, why don't we actually do a song from Company? How scary? Alright, let's just remember how we're doing this. We're gonna go there, and then we're gonna go there. Okay.
Someone to hold you too close, someone to hurt you too deep, someone to sit in your chair and ruin your sleep and make you aware of being alive, being alive. Someone to crowd you with love, someone to force you to care, someone to make you come through, who'll always be there, as frightened as you, of being alive, being alive, being alive, be alive. my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive. Being alive. Somebody crowd me with love. Somebody know me too well. Somebody pull me up short and put me through hell and give me support for being alive. Make me alive. Make me alive. Make me confused. Mock me with praise. Let me be used. Vary my days. 'Cause alone is alone, not alive. Somebody crowd me with love. Somebody force me to care. Somebody make me come through. I'll always be there, as frightened as you, to help us survive. Being alive. Being alive. Being
Still scary.
Yeah. I want you to start with the next song. Is the whole song incorporated in the story? Do you want to go to the microphone?
Well, there's a little bit left.
Before. Okay, so we're talking about David's big Broadway musical debut, which was Gypsy, the 7th revival? Wait, which one was it?
8.5. No, the Sam Mendes version with Burtka
Better than Peter. Okay, so basically, every person I've heard that's gotten Tulsa has had some really weird, bizarre story attached. Like Tony Aspect, like wasn't allowed to audition. So were you submitted by your agent? How did you get the audition?
Well, I was in New York doing The Goat, or Who is Sylvia, and no one really knew me as...
That's the name of the show, The Goat, or Who is Sylvia.
That's
the name of it's Everett Album.
I know when I got to New York, I started doing all these plays. People saw me as just, a regular, dramatic actor, and no one thought of me as a musical actor.
You say you had a musical theater degree.
Even though I had a musical theater degree, no one looked at that. They just looked at your credits. So I started doing all the plays, and I was doing The Goat, and then they submitted me for it, and everyone's like, "Can you do that? Are you able to sing and dance?" So I went into the dance hall, sang the song, and I ended up getting the part. But it was weird. They couldn't find this person for over a year, like a year and a half. They couldn't find a Tulsa, which was like every single guy tried out, and every single guy wanted this part, and they kept turning people down over and over and over and over. So I thought, a year and a half went by, and I'll do a musical, why not? It seems like the right thing. So my agents didn't want me to do it because it was a supporting role. They wanted me to do something, else. But I was like, this is Broadway musical. It's like my dream to do something like that. So it was a big opportunity.
But backtrack to, I know your kids are here, but can you maybe describe a little bit of some of those plays that you did before you did Gypsy? How they began, the plot, anything that you're allowed to see in front of your children?
The first show I did was the play about the baby, and it was very much about, they're Edward Albee, so it's very dark and very funny, but also very sad at the same time. This was all about loss and wounds, and how when you're born without, you're sort of perfect vessel. I was like that Adam and Eve character. There were only 4 people: Marianne Seldes, Brian Murray, a girl named Kathleen Early, and myself. And we were sort of Adam and Eve, sort of naked all the time in the show. And
was Marianne Seldes naked?
No.
No, you were.
Kathleen and I, the Adam and Eve sort of type people.
Like naked. Like
a lot of the time.
Junk out naked.
Oh yeah, I was
not naked cowboy, like literally naked.
Can I tell you that when I started dating David, that I went to the New York Theater archives and I watched the play about the baby because I knew he was going to be naked in it.
You have to give a reason.
And I married him. Boom!
Wait, when you go to the archives, when you want to see a show, you have to fill out a reason. You have to, so you have to like, I'm doing this in summer so I can research. What did you write as your reason?
I said I needed to do some research on some stuff.
Just some junk. Okay, where was I? Okay, so. Cut. I'm mortified. Okay, so. Did Albie, like, was there a plot, like, to the show?
I mean, there was an overlying, there was a lot of different vignettes and stories about things, but there wasn't really necessarily something that, you know, there was like it wasn't linear.
What did Albert Albie say when someone said, you know, what
was it about?
Yeah.
He said it was about an hour and a half. Truly, it's about an hour and a half.
I'm out. What about Marion Silva? She was like the queen, most amazing actress.
She was amazing.
Any good stories?
Oh, there are 18,000 stories, but one of my favorites was she'd go up to everyone and say, "My darling, my bird, how are you?" And everyone thought, "Oh my God, she's so lovely. She touched my face. She looked right in my eyes." She was blind as a bat. Like, she could not see. I mean, this close, she could see in front of herself. It was crazy. Like, she was
So she did it to
everybody.
Who you are.
She would, yeah.
Hello,
Hello, darling. How are you? I mean, she's the grand dame of theater. She was amazing. I mean, the stories and what happened, the stories of her husband, Garson Kanan. She gave me shirts of his, and I mean, she's such a beautiful, wonderful woman.
Did she never miss a performance?
Ever. She had. In rehearsals. I remember being in rehearsals all day long, and I actually, in rehearsals, I touched her side. I said, "Oh, how are you?" She, "Don't touch me. I have shingles." And I've had them for a week.
And you had 8 hours.
And no one knew she had shingles, yet she. Okay.
It's so old.
In the Guinness Book of World Records.
In the Guinness Book of World Records.
For never missing a show?
Or Mousetrap. Yeah, Death Trap.
For Death Trap, she did Death Trap all the way through as one character, and then switched to be an older character, and kept on going, I think, as the longest track record of
Guinness Book of World Records.
Okay, did you come see Gypsy?
Oh, yeah, she did. I think she was there opening night.
And we should like Bernadette, my darling. Okay, we're gonna do David's song from Gypsy, and I'll talk a little bit about his audition.
Head it.
Sure.
Once my clothes were shabby, Taylor called me cabby, so I took a vow, said this bum will be Brummel. Now I'm smooth and snappy, now my Taylor's happy, I'm the cat's meow, my wardrobe is a wow. Paris silk, Paris tweed, there's only one thing I need. Got my tweed breast, got my best vest, all I need now is the girl. Got my striped tie, got my hopes, I got the time and the place, and I got rhythm. Now all I need is the girl to go with them. If she'll just appear, we'll take this big town for a whirl. And if she'll say, "My darling, I'm yours," I'll throw away my striped tie and my best pressed tweed. All I really need is the girl. Yeah. And this is where the tap break starts, but I'm not gonna do it. There's not enough room. Sorry. But anyway, when I was auditioning for this show, I went in, Sam Mendes liked me. He said, "Come back tomorrow." So I came back tomorrow, auditioning for Arthur. Everybody was in the room. Arthur, the producers, the casting directors, the choreographer. I walked in, Sam looked at me in the eye and said, "Just do exactly what you did yesterday." And then I heard Arthur Lawrence say under his breath, "Now that looks like a Tulsa." All I really need, all I really need, all I really need is the girl.
Gypsy that you boys met. We did a show together, 54 Below, and Kate Reinders claims she set you up, but what does that mean?
Totally true. I was doing Cabaret on Broadway, the revival of that, and David was in rehearsals for Gypsy.
It was both Sam Mendes shows, which is fine.
Wild.
I didn't realize that. And then what happened?
I had met Kate Reinders before when Into the Woods, the revival of it, started at the Amundsen Theater in LA. So I befriended the cast and hung out with them, invited them over, and had fun times because musical theater people rule. And then I saw her on the street walking down 8th Avenue in 46? 44?
Between 46 and 45.
Yeah. And I saw Kate, and I said, "Hey, Kate," and she was with David, who was, tousled hair. He was the guy that got the part on the, he got Tulsa, so he was the cool guy. So he had a leather jacket, it was like his hair was tousled, and he's like, "Hey, that was Kate, that was Kate. No, that was Kate. That was Kate." It's like, "Oh my God, how are you?" And I said, "Hey, how are you?" And
I didn't want
she goes, "This is my friend David," and he goes, "What's up?"
Why
I didn't want him to think that I knew he was a celebrity or anything. I mean, he also I wasn't that into him at all because he had dyed jet black hair and he was doing cabaret, so he looked all weird. And I didn't really know him, and I didn't want to give him, I just feel like
it was his best 90210, Beverly Hills 90210 guy. "Hey bud, how's it going? What's up? What's up?" And so then I kept talking to Kate, and I was like, "Kate, nice job on this one." And she goes, "David, oh no, he's talking to me." And I said, "Really?" Fascinating. But he has a boyfriend.
oh, rough. I did have a boyfriend, and it wasn't going well. And he lived in LA, and we were doing
It was a long-distance relationship.
thing, and Kate would call Neil because he knew it was like circling like a vampire.
Vampire?
The vulture.
A dove.
The vulture, Joe. Beautiful dove. And Kate would call and say, "Okay, so here's the thing. We're gonna be at Barrymore's after the show.
If you happen to be there," it's like, mission challenge accepted.
And literally everywhere we went for the next 2-3 weeks, Neil was there. I was like, "Oh wait, Neil, why is Neil Patrick Harris stalking me?"
David Burtka.
Like, again.
Fancy seeing you here at this bar.
Angus McIndoes, again. Hi. Across the
So I
way.
did that for too long. And then,
And then it wasn't going well, and then I ended up breaking up with him, and
like a vampire, into the neck.
we had a date, and I never looked back. The date turned into a weekend it turned into 11 years.
Yeah.
2 kids.
It's true. We really went on a date and it just kind of continued. We saw each other just all of the time. We moved in. We were both subletting furnished sublets from different places, which is really expensive in New York when it's someone else's stuff. So we got a place together very, very quickly.
3 months after.
We're like a really good lesbian couple. Early, didn't ever stop, and we were just
How would you see
BFFs.
How would you see each other if you're both in Broadway shows at the same time?
Kate would have American Idol viewing parties, and we would hang out or after the show.
We'd hang out after the show. We
Once we
hang out
started
during our
dating,
dates.
Yeah, once we started dating, we would just.
Weren't you doing Gypsy and you were doing Cabaret?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Cabaret
but they were on the
was.
same show schedule.
So as soon as the thing was done, we'd sometimes meet at McDonald's.
Yeah.
On a hot date.
Would you call him when you were, because you didn't have anything to do?
I'd bike up to his theater, yeah.
What about during Act 2? Because Tulsa basically dies in Act 1.
Yeah.
So during Act
Kate and I both, we weren't in Act 2 at all. We would like do facial masks and watch Sex and the City reruns and read books
Order
and
fried chicken.
drink champagne. Yeah, fried chicken and like ribs. I don't know.
And then just come out for your bow?
Come out for our bow, like a little sauced. It was fun.
Very sweet. Okay, we're gonna sing a little, I guess it's kind of a little love-ish duet. Kind of
This is
represents.
a lover's duet, and the backstory to this is that David just did a full tilt cabaret at
Really good.
54 that Seth was the MD on, and I directed it actually, and Kate sang this part. And so it's a mashup of Tom Kitt did the orchestrations for put them together.
Yeah, it was a song about actually how Neil and I met and how I was in not a very good place, and Kate sort of lifted me up.
And Tom Kidd wrote Next to Normal.
Oh yeah,
Tom Kidd wrote Next to Normal.
and he arranged this for us.
But not these songs.
Exactly.
Standing on a bridge, I'm waiting in the dark. I thought that you'd be here by now. There's nothing but the rain, no footsteps on the ground. I'm listening, but there's no sound. Isn't anyone trying to find me? Won't somebody come take me home? It's those tears right shoulder. I'll be love suicide. I'll be you. Take me by the hand, take me somewhere new. I don't know who you are, but I'm with you, and you're alive. I'm with you. I'm searching for a place that rain falls.
Wait, go back to there.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm looking for a place. 1, 2, 3, go.
I'm just looking for a place, I'm searching for a place, angry on the anybody here. I know I'm bad, 'cause nothing's going right, and everything's a mess, and no one likes to be alive and not dead. Isn't anyone trying to find me? Won't somebody come take me home? It's those damn cold nights, trying to figure out this life. Won't you take me by the hand, take me somewhere new? I don't know who you are, but I'm fan of your life. I'm with you live, yeah. Oh, why is everything so confusing? For the day, you're out of my mind. I'll turn it on, I'll turn it on. Remember the things that you said. It's those damn cold nights, trying to figure out this life. Won't you take me by the hand? I don't know who you'll be, but I'll be. It's those damn cold nights, trying to figure out this life. Won't you take me by the hand, take me somewhere new? I don't know who you are, but I'm with you, fan of your life. I'm with you, fan of your life. I'm with you, fan of your
Bye now.
We're out of here. No.
Oh, we have a lot of water. Oh, I have a whole bottle. Do you want it? Oh,
Yeah, a little bit.
hold on a second. Wait. I can't say. It's all good. Okay. Why don't you guys do a musical play? It's fine. There's like a chocolate. Alright, I'm getting my water bottle. And I haven't even opened it. Here. See how delicious that is?
Why would we not do a music together?
Yeah, why don't you guys star in some amazing musical? Why don't you like in the Goyish or falsettos?
We've been approached to do, like, Williamstown wanted us to do something, but we haven't had time. We've just been nuts. 4 dudes in a room bitching.
Yeah.
We thought maybe the older version of Blood Brothers. We could be
Blood uncles.
And then we thought Carrie Butler would be great.
That'd be fun.
She's
And
gonna be here
then
this week and also Carrie Butler.
Patty could play.
Take it now.
Yeah, I totally think you guys, or like an original musical. Get back to me on that. Okay, so let me ask you something. So Neil Patrick Harris.
The problem is we can't really do a Broadway show at the same time because we're kids. Until they're older, I mean, who's gonna put them down at night? So we said we're gonna flip flop.
Yeah, we are.
Kids. So that's what.
Yeah, it's okay.
We'll get back to it.
We're gonna move forward. So Neil Patrick Harris, give me 2 minutes on How I Met Ye Old Mother. Did they write the role for you? Did you see an open call? How'd you get the gig?
No, I was actually deciding to audition for TV stuff again, but in my mind it seemed the best move was to be a supporting character in an hour-long drama, because the workload seemed manageable, and if you joined forces with good people, like an HBO show or something, then you would, you wouldn't have to work every single day. You'd work a couple days an episode. You get to do good stuff, like 6 Feet Under, or those shows were out at that time. And I thought, oh, that would be the dream, because you're not carrying the entire show. You get to come back into the television world in a really smart way. So I was auditioning for those kind of things, and then all of a sudden, Megan Brandman, who's a casting director and was casting the show, and a friend, said, come and audition for this crazy half-hour show called How I Met Your Mother. Which I
People
thought was
know
a
you-
terrible title.
It is terrible. Did people know you were funny?
Well, I'd done Harold and Kumar, and so that was like super kind of hardcore comedy. So I read the script, and it was not at all my type at all. And auditions, as many of you know, you're typed out very quickly. And you could be super talented or super fun. Bye, Gideon. Bye, Harper. Bye, guys. I love you guys. Sleep tight.
Bye, kids.
We'll see you soon. Wow, they hated the show. Not enough of them in the middle of a story. Fuck them. I can say that now because they're gone. Because they're gone. I was holding this. The F word was like.
Trying to get out. So you're talking about flip-flopping.
So yeah. No, so this part was written as this larger, Jack Black, cigar smoking, straight shave kind of dude, and I just didn't think that I would ever get it. There's a billion other people, probably in LA, 150 other people who are that guy, and that's kind of what casting people cast, is who you are, sort of more intrinsically. But so I didn't really care, so I went in and it was a laser tag scene, I think, from the pilot, and I did dive rolls over the couch, and I was being crazy because I didn't really care, because I didn't think I was going to get it. I wasn't being disrespectful, I was just trying stuff. Sometimes you're locked in nerves when you really, really want a gig, and I didn't really have that much at stake with it. And then they loved it, and then all of a sudden it was happening, and we did the pilot, and the pilot was fantastic. Allison Hannigan, who I had been friends with for a long time, was in it. Josh Radnor, who I had done a play with before. I had done a Robbie Bates play called...
Weren't you also nude?
Where we were nude together, love us. So that was
nude?
weird. Who's not nude?
I've never been asked.
Why are you nude?
Because no one's ever asked, if anything.
You were in the porny show, weren't you?
The Ritz, weren't you naked in the Ritz?
No, dear.
Why?
Because I will tell the story within 1 second. We were doing the Ritz, which was about a bathhouse, and literally everyone was so hot, Billy Magnuson, and I was like sort of in a bathrobe, and we're in the tech rehearsal, and I was like, you know what? Like, I've been working out, I'm gonna work it. So I did one cross, and I'm just gonna open my bathrobe, because like I've been doing all these push-ups. As I literally exit, William Ivy Long runs to the wings, and he was like, you gotta keep the bathrobe closed, you gotta keep it closed. I'm not exaggerating. Ran in a panic. Next question. Devastating. Okay, so How I Met Your Mother, amazing cast.
That was fun, and then we did the pilot, and the cast was, and it was so fun. We got along super well. We just everyone gelled, and it was fun, and therefore we thought it would never get picked up, because those great opportunities never seemed to last. And then suddenly we had a season that we were on the bubble. We probably were going to get picked up for season 2. We were picked up for season 2, but barely. And then, so that season was fun, and then we were not told forever that we were going to be picked up, so we thought we were canceled, and we were barely picked up for season 3. And it was only after the 4th season of the show, when that means that they can put it into syndication and do reruns of it, that it becomes an actual show. So it wasn't until really 4 or 5 years into the show that it was considered a successful show. So it was this interesting gig, but I loved it, man. Playing Barney Stinson was the jam. He was just so unlike me in such a fun way. So often you end up as an actor getting cast in a role where you, with a TV show, you have to commit to a larger conceit because you haven't read all the material. They write it every week, it's new material. So if you end up being this super phobic, nervous, nerdy guy, and they write towards that, then every week in, week out, everyone's only seeing you doing this little thing. You know what I mean? So getting to play Barney, he was voracious. Like he wanted great times and he wanted to drink and bed chicks and he was just like crazy. So that was, as an actor, just so fun. And then we had a bunch of musical stuff in it. We had a song called Girls vs. Suits, which was the 100th episode of that, where I sang an ode to suit and we set suits, my love for suits. Nothing suits me like a suit. It was awesome. And we did it on the back lot of 20th Century Fox where they did Singing in the Rain. So it was just, yeah, that was a really fun, super fun chapter.
Did you come out during the run of that show?
I did, yeah.
That's a big deal because you're a straight character.
Well, because David and I were dating from before that, and so I went and did a pilot, and again, I didn't think it was going to get picked up, and so we came to LA.
There was a party with all the cast
party.
before the show started, I think the pilot, and Neil walks in with the dude, and everyone was like, oh, I didn't even know I was gay. Okay. He's playing this straight dude, and there were, I didn't know, I cared about it, but
it was important to be transparent to your coworkers and the people that you were working for and with, right? Not only just to show them about you and your life, but to, I guess, prove to them that I'm cool with it and that it wasn't an issue for me, so that I didn't want them to find out that I was dating David and then all of a sudden write my character in a different direction. So and I was fine with it. So it seemed an inevitability that coming out publicly was going to be something as the show got more popular. And I just felt like I was disrespecting David, to be honest, because the more you work, then the more you're invited to fun things, right? Like movie premieres, and the red carpet then becomes a question, because do you go down hand in hand on the red carpet, and if so, are you making kind of a statement? Or do you, I guess it's different now for people, because people come out a lot earlier and there's so much more acceptance, which is so fantastic. But I had grown up in the industry, hypothetically heterosexual, really more like asexual, to be honest. I didn't think Doogie wasn't like the stuckiest dude.
I love you, Wanda. I really do. I think we should have sex with each other.
So, and then I just kind of laid low, and I intentionally tried to answer questions about who, you know, my perfect date, things like that, in a way that wasn't gender specific, because I really didn't want to have to recant something, and so, but it just felt weird and it felt cloudy, and it was not cool for David because he was either walking in first or walking behind, like on the other side of the photographers, and then meeting back up, and that's fine, but it was just weird. So we just, Perez Hilton lit a match and lit the kindling, and all of a sudden it's turned into a thing, and I made a statement, and it was all like transparent and good after that.
Isn't it a delicious relief?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think people are drawn towards those that are comfortable in their skin, that know who they are and how they want to be, right? So even if there's a whole wide spectrum of that. But if you are a guy who loves to wear the same suit every day and have a bunch of eccentric isms, by all means, if you own that and that's you, then you're drawn to that. It's the people that you kind of know something else is going on, and you wish that they could come to terms with whatever it is, not just gay, straight, who knows what it is, right? But I think the more opportunities that we have as people to just be present and be ourselves, I think then people are drawn to that authenticity. So, yeah, it was good.
So, we're going to do a song from a show you did, which was very much about learning to accept yourself, and he wanted to yield Tony Award for it. Let's do a song from Hedwig. Harris.
Oh, yeah. And we got our backup.
We have our amazing backup musicians. We have Well Strong. You guys look so handsome. We also have Christina, a little sassy backup, as well as David Burtka as Selena, or Lena as she's known in the hall.
Oh, this is gonna be so weird because I'll have to be. I'm dressed not like a chick right now.
That's the tune.
Oh, God.
I hope I don't screw up the lyrics.
Alright, man, fixing the light.
And hurricanes and rains, black and cloudy skies. You're running up and down that hill. You turn it on and off at will. There's nothing here to thrill or bring you down. And if you've got no other choice, you know you can follow my voice through the dark turns and noise of this wicked little town. Oh, Lady Luck has led you here, but they're so twisted up, they'll twist you up, I fear. The pious, hateful, and devout, you're turning tricks till you're turned out. The wind's so cold it burns, you're burning out and blowing round. And if you've got no other choice, you know you can follow my voice through the dark turns and noise of this wicked little town. The fates are vicious and they're cruel. You learn too late, you've used two wishes like a fool. And then you're someone you are not, and Junction City ain't the spot. Remember Mrs. Lot and when she turned around. And if you've got no other choice, you know you can follow my voice through the dark turns and noise of this wicked little town.
Okay, basically our next show starts in 5 minutes. But before it does, just talk about your two... Exactly. Talk about your two chillin'. They're twins?
Twins?
Yep, Harper and Gideon.
One boy, one girl, yes?
Yep, Harper's 1 minute older.
No,
Gideon's 1 minute older and Harper's 1 minute taller.
But he's stronger.
He is stronger. He's very into Star Wars, and she's very into performing.
Ooh. She's not into watching performers, I know this.
No.
Yeah. Put it up faster.
Flat! Not enough good.
No, they're awesome. It's been the crazy greatest thing ever. I mean, you know, our DNA one of them is from my sperm, one from David's sperm, into an egg donor separate from its surrogate who carried them, and all for a good, loving cause. And they're both healthy, and they're both fun, happy kids. And as they get older, I like them more and more.
Personalities come out. And like, who's in charge of what? Is like one of you read? Do you guys both read together at night? What's it
We both. I mean, it's been wild because when Neil was doing Head Big, I was the primary caregiver. Well, most of Neil's been working a lot more. But when I ended up doing It Should Have Been You, Neil took the reins completely. He had to, because who was going to put them down at night? So he was number one dad. So he was reading them to bed.
Structure is important for kids at this age, right? So we want to make sure that they know not only what we do for a living, and that what that means is that it's different chapters all the time, but that one of us will, for the most part, be able to be there to put them down. Mm-hmm. Tonight, our amazing nanny Nicole is putting them down, but that's because we're singing. So they know that, and they're not going to be crying and asking. They're awesome.
And what's the book that they insist upon reading over and over again?
Wow, we read, 4 or 5 books all the time. The Day the Crayon Split is good.
Book with No Pictures is funny.
The Book with No Pictures by DJ Novak is awesome.
Great book.
There's one called
Jack Takes the Cake is
Dragons Love Tacos, hilarious.
Those Darn Squirrels.
Those Darn Squirrels, very funny.
Very funny.
My kid was obsessed with 5 Chinese brothers.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Get back to me. Okay, so David's gonna sing a song that he sang in the act, which I feel you related to.
Yeah, I sang this. I sang this actually in a cabaret class in college, and I dedicated it to my fellow students. But in the act, I decided to dedicate it to my kids. So this is for Harper and Gideon, who left. So I can always dedicate it again to Neil.
I'm your other baby.
The bigger baby. You're clear out of this world when I'm looking at you. I hear out of this world the music that no mortal ever knew. You're right out of a book, a fairy tale I read when I was so high. No armored knight out of a book was more enchanted by a Lorelei than I. After waiting so long for the right time, after reaching so long for a star, all at once from the long and lonely night time, and despite time, here you are. I'd cry out of this world if you said we were through. So let me fly out of this world and spend the next eternity or two with you.
What did I just do?
We should just do the last number. Like, quick now.
Oh, I know, I was gonna say, but you need to set it up.
Yeah, okay.
But actually, you're about to do the last number is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to set it up a little bit before we do it.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting excited because it's late.
I know. It's all good. Okay, come set. So there's just a little bit of a setup for this. Don't you have to say like what was running and the blah blah blah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna sing.
This is our last song. You have to like appreciate it.
Yeah, I should probably put this. So this is the song that we did for the Tonys called "It's Bigger." The bigger number. I thought I'd try and sing it again, but it was insane. And there's 1,000 stories that happened on it. But I thought we'd sing it as fast as we could, or as quickly as we could. But craziness. Everything that could have gone wrong almost did. And the magic trick in the halfway point had never ever worked once. Didn't work in the dress rehearsal, didn't work the morning of. The walls came crashing down prematurely, so we had problems and crossing our fingers on that.
Costume change?
Oh yeah, so at the beginning I'm dressed like I'm in the show once, which we won last year, and then I run off, and then I'm supposed to run off and have a quick change into a whole tuxedo thing. And the gang that's backstage waiting for my outfit, this number starts, and it's just not there. The dresser's not there, the outfit's not there. And so Spencer Liff, who is helping choreograph it, and he's helping do traffic, because it was a lot. There were hundreds of people backstage in lines. This line's gonna go over this way, go that way. The cast of Kinky Boots, they come here, and then they're here, and then they're that way. And then here, so they were all like this. He was just had taken off his own jacket, and was just gonna hand me his jacket and put it on and say, "Good luck, buddy," and kick me out there. And then literally as I was running off, the wardrobe guy comes running on, and we just hand off the jacket and put on and go on. And they all kind of collapsed in the middle of it because they didn't know. There was that kind of number.
And Mike Tyson was in it.
Mike Tyson was in it, and he's this very large man. Like a pit bull, like you can't control him. So he was so excited and he was punching things. Not people, just things like in the air, like air punching. And I was trying to move him around, but he was so excited. You see, if you watch the video, you can see me. I'm kind of, oh my God. Don't bite my ear. Kind of almost in my ear.
It was a season of Book of Mormon. It was
Kinky Boots.
Kinky Boots. Scandalous with Kathy Lee
Gifford, whose husband, Frank
passed
Gifford,
away.
passed away. So there's a lyric about Kathy Lee Gifford's writing, but I'm still going to sing it because I don't want to, but I'm being respectful to Frank.
Exactly. And basically we're going to sing all the backup parts.
We'll try and sing it.
Matilda's.
This is our big finish.
Yeah, so come on. So he's in a once outfit with a guitar.
We talk too long. I'll keep comparing. There's the other problem is when you do these performances on award shows, I trust in this gigantic teleprompter. That's, if you look back behind you, it would be as large as between those two exit signs, like this big thing that's scrolling all the lyrics, because you have so many other things to think about. That the last thing you're trying to do is trying to remember all of these words, especially Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote the words for this. I don't know if you've heard of him, he's a big deal. He's a historian. So we'll see how much I remember. I can break your heart with a work of art and a song that's quiet and small. But we're back where we began it all. Radio City Music Hall. So tonight we might go bigger. That's right, it's bigger. It's Broadway's greatest night and we're raring to go. Let's make it bigger. Tonight is bigger. Who will take home the Tony statue? We don't know. I guarantee a truly legendary show. Recruits include the cast of Kinky Boots. You see they're beautiful and buff as Navy SEALs. And you can bounce and quarter off the ass of Billy Porter. Lord, he does 8 shows a week in 8-inch heels. Hats off to Barry Gordy, he runs Motown like a boss. He dominates top 40 and he banged Diana Ross. He wrote his own libretto, which is really kind of ballin'. He took every Motown classic and he said, I'll put them all and make it bigger. It's bigger.
bigger.
That's right, it's bigger. It's bigger. I just learned this dance like half an hour ago. The show is bigger. It's bigger. So much bigger. So much bigger. Have you seen so many divas in a row?
Hell no.
Well, stick with me, cause your MC's a seasoned pro. You gonna jump pro hoop?
Go, Neil, go!
It's Pippin, always flippin', never flippin', as he's pining for his corner of the sky. But the sky is overcrowded with his oh so highly touted cast of singing circus people swinging body and flips. The cast of Bring It On had counted 32 debuts. Hey kids, welcome to Broadway, don't forget your union dues. In tandem like we planned them, and forgive me if it's random, but Mike Tyson had a one-man show. Let's give that man a hand and make things bigger.
It's stupendous.
That's right, it's bigger.
It's tremendous.
I'm here with Iron Mike, he's a heavyweight, yo, we're going bigger.
It's for
Like
real.
so much bigger.
Don't mess with him.
We've got cheerleaders, contortionists, and so takes it to Channel Square, let's send it to our show.
Sure. Go, Neil, go!
The magical Matilda stole the show and nearly killed us, so they got a special Tony of their own, which strikes at the Achilles of the jaded former Billies. They get Tonys, then get fired when they're grown. Now here's the cast of Christmas Story, Annie and her orphans. So many child actors high on Red Bull and endorphins. They barely come up to your knees, but God, they're singing like MVPs, and they're the reason this whole season seems to look like Chuck E. Cheese. And geez, it's bigger. It's bigger. That's right, it's bigger. Is there a Tony daycare where all of you go? We're getting bigger. It's so much bigger. Do your parents set aside your Broadway dough? When I play Doogie, never mind, I'm with the show. Broadway's where famous people go. Though being famous doesn't mean that you will get a good review. So Alec, write Ben Bradley if you want, that's entertaining too. We've got magic to do. So I run, I'm laughing. Haha, this is great. And I'm like, fuck. Get inside the thing, it spins around. Then I dematerialize. And it opens, and it drops, and it's perfect. And the camera doesn't cut, and it spins around, and I'm way in the back of the theater with a bunch of kids from Disney. Bigger.
Bigger.
It's bigger.
It's bigger.
I'm right down the aisle with some newsies in tow. The show is bigger. It's bigger. So much bigger. If there's a newsie you prefer, please let me know. You get a newsie in your big gift bag when you go. It's true. It's true. It just Disney manufactures them. They just Chacon newsie. Chacon newsie. Chacon newsie. It's creepy. But effective. Oh, and then I ran up on stage and I said, "Can I have my Tom Hooper Les Mis close-up, please?" Like this. That was a little Les Mis joke. And then I said, "See, on Broadway, we don't need extreme close-ups to show we're singing 8 times a week." And then everyone cheered, but I wasn't expecting that, and I was so grateful because I could breathe. So if you watch it, you see me go. And then I said, which was, cross your fingers, we sing live 8 shows a week, check it! At the end of the day, we are gathered together to honor the best and the brightest. And tomorrow, the fashion police will report on your dress and your war at the tightest. If you win at the time of your life, so your manager, dad, or your mom, thanks. Hi to your kids, or your husband, or wife, maybe just for the hell of it, Tom Hanks. Nothing is bigger or better than seeing a veteran get an ovation, or seeing a brilliant beginner freak out on a win on their first nomination. There's a kid in the middle of nowhere who's sitting there living for Tony performances, singing and flipping along with the Pippins and Kinkies and Wickets, Matildas and Mormonses. So we might be assure that kid and do something to spur that kid, because I promise you, all of us up here tonight, we were that kid. And now we're here. The biggest spectacle we know. Come see the super sexy Cinderella sisters celebrating. Ladies, grab a fella. The tempo is accelerating. Kinky, productive, productive, kinky rock of ages. Chicago, bring it on. A split the story, sharing stages. Mamma Mia, Lion King. The Jersey Boys are tapping. Kathy Lee's a Broadway lyricist, so anything can happen. Bigger, New York is bigger. So welcome to our bigger, better, best of Broadway.